Hello folks, my name is Christopher. I have HSV2 down here. Ignore the fact that half the car is full of light, half the car is not full of light. This is not a cinematography channel. It's a herpes channel, so just listen to my words and hopefully they'll have some value to you. Anyways, today I want to talk about the most important thing, or the only thing you really have to do before anything else when it comes to your herpes diagnosis. Or if you have herpes and you don't do this one thing, you're going to be screwed for life. And that one thing is entirely within our control. So that is the good news. You can do this, I can do this, we can all do this, and from there we can all kind of get to where we all want to be, whether it's dating, whether it's ridding that internal shame, or whether it's just living your best life. I know that we can all do this because I did this, and it's something that I think a lot of people overlook when it comes to diagnosis. Because I'll give you an analogy. Before I mention what this thing is, it's essentially like we're here and we're trying to get here, and your whole, steps to get there is a bridge. And this one thing I'm going to mention in a couple seconds is like the first quarter of the bridge. So it's almost as though you've built this entire bridge, or you've tried to get to where you ideally want to be, but you're missing the first half of the bridge. Good luck. Okay, you ever seen a bridge with half a bridge with car? No. Like, I'm not an archaeologist, no, paleontologist, architect, structural engineer. I'm not a structural engineer / architect, but I'm pretty sure a bridge doesn't work if it's only half a bridge. But let's get back on track with the herpes. The number one thing is changing your identity. What do I mean by this? When you get herpes, most of your thoughts, most of your opinions, most of what you believe about yourself is not factual, and it's not really based on objective things that the virus tells you itself. Essentially, we've been, brought up to believe that if you get herpes, specifically genital herpes, you are dirty, you should be ashamed, you're going to be alone forever, people should avoid you, you're gross, you slept around, you made a mistake, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, all of these different things. But yet, if you get herpes up here, you've been brought up to think it's more normal, less shameful, just from your parent or relative. There's nothing sexual about it. It's not as big of a deal. So in the same way that two of the same viruses are just the same viruses, objectively, we actually were brought up to have two different, identities for the same thing. Which truly makes you think okay, so our thoughts and our opinions don't even make sense for the same thing. We can have one thought for one thing and one thought for the same exact thing, and they can be totally different. And why is this important? Because I think a lot of people who get genital herpes, or any kind of herpes, honestly, people are struggling with it up here too, mentally. If you never rid yourself of these beliefs, or you never change your beliefs about yourself, all of your actions are still going to align with that. So what do I mean by this? Let's give you an example. If you are an alcoholic and you're trying to quit drinking and you still identify yourself as an alcoholic, all you're going to be is an alcoholic trying to stop drinking. But alcoholics who want to stop drinking, or people who want to stop drinking, or people who don't drink aren't alcoholics. So the best advice for this kind of person is to change their own internal identity from I'm no longer an alcoholic. I'm someone who doesn't use alcohol to, relieve stress or whatever it is that you drink. I'm someone who takes care of their body, doesn't have too many harmful substances put into it. I'm someone who has healthier habits. And then once you have this identity with yourself, your alcoholic tendencies will go away. Ideally, it's probably going to take some work. But you will no longer have the identity that's going to reinforce the bad behaviors that will then keep you from having a new identity. So how does this apply to the herpes? Guess what? Tomorrow, you're not dirty. You're not someone who should feel shame. You are someone who had sex and contracted a very common virus that the majority of planet Earth gets. Because this is going to do a lot of things. If you no longer identify yourself as dirty, people who think you're dirty, it's not going to align. It's like magnets. Almost as if what they're saying to you just bounces right off. Like, you are like Neo from the Matrix, okay? You used to be like, living in the Matrix. Whoa, we're all in the Matrix. Then you become Neo and you escape. And the bullets are people's harsh words. That's true, though. Like, this is why I never feel shame or embarrassed or anything. Because, like, the way I feel about myself, I'm not dirty. I took a shower this morning. I didn't make a mistake because everybody is technically at risk of contracting herpes, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, potentially with or without protection. We're all kind of at risk, and I understand that. So I'm no different than anyone else. I just happen to have either contracted it and known or just contracted it. Some people never do, but it's not because they can't. It's just because they didn't. So on this topic, get to a point tomorrow, next week, next year, change your own internal identity so that your thoughts and your actions align with your new self. Maybe some of you right now, you think you're dirty, you think you should be rejected, you think you should be alone forever. Because of these identities and these like reinforced beliefs on yourself, you're not going to date, you're not going to become the best version of yourself, you're not going to be motivated by your diagnosis to strive to be better because you feel like there is no point in being better because this is my label for life. It's not. You may have a virus, but guess what? If you ever had chickenpox too, you still have that in your body. You are labeled with chickenpox for life. And the only difference is that one of them has, this full-on shame to it, and one of them doesn't have this full-on shame. And of course there's differences, but I just find it funny how like all of our thoughts and beliefs can dictate our entire actions and all of our habits going forward. So once you start to eliminate these bad beliefs, have a new identity going forward, all of these good things can happen. You may feel a sense of confidence again to go and date if you've sworn off dating for life because of fear of rejection. Another thing too is like if you never feared rejection before you got herpes, what is the difference now? And if you never got rejected before you got herpes, you're probably pretty amazing of a person or pretty attractive, or you have things to offer that people are still going to see. And the reason why the identity change is so important is that you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to be able to take these new beliefs forward to become the best version of yourself, not identify with these beliefs that you have in society. And I just kind of want to leave with one quote at the end of this video. I just heard this recently from Marcus Aurelius. He basically said, like, we love ourselves more than anyone else, but we care about other people's opinions way more than our own. And someone else was saying this recently too. They basically were talking about how, like, if you get herpes and you feel like the whole world is against you and society is against you, other people are against you, the media is against you, you are really you against the world. And you really also only have control over your thoughts and your opinions of yourself. Why in such a vulnerable situation, when everyone is against you, would you join in with everyone else? Why would you and everyone else be against you? You're only ever going to stand up for yourself in some kind of sick-minded way, like we're all alone, born alone, die alone, that sort of thing. Why wouldn't you at least stick up for yourself throughout the course of your life? And if you are going to go along with the opinions of other people about you, do you even have a sense of self? Or like, who are you? Because when you kind of eliminate your own control of yourself from yourself, what's left? Like, I'm imagining that in my head. Like, you're like a body, and then like your spirit exits and like goes with the rest of society looking at you, shaming you. Like, what's left of you? Just the herpes virus, because that's with you for life. Sorry for the bad humor, but that's the truth. This is covered in Atomic Habits. It's one of the main factors that affects people's habit formation and habit sticking long term, which is like if you still identify with a certain thing that doesn't align with the actions or beliefs that are good for you going forward, you're never going to get to that point. So TLDR for this video, Tomorrow, you're no longer dirty. You're no longer ashamed. You're no longer someone who is going to be alone forever. And once you change these things about your own internal identity, you'll be able to see yourself with confidence, take that newfound confidence, become the best version of yourself, learn to disclose to people, regardless of their rejection, you will be okay. And then when you get over this whole aspect, this kind of compounding effect of your life getting better and better and better is going to get you farther and farther away from the original stigma, shame, and the original identity that you already had about yourself. Don't be against yourself when everyone else is against yourself. Critically think about the stigma. We may not have power over the, thoughts and opinions of others, but you have complete control and complete power over your own thoughts and opinions of yourself. Love you, miss you, hope you're doing well. I hope this helped. Extra help in the entire description box. See you in the next video, guys.